What up, people? Welcome back. This is your boy Ryan Leaf, and welcome to the Dugout Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Just please click subscribe. Please follow me on Spotify and Apple Podcast, or wherever you listen to podcasts, basically. You can find me on Twitter at RWLeafGreen, and you can find me on IG at the Dugout Podcast. So, thank you so much for tuning in. The status quo of the transfer market. This is very controversial. This is wild. Damien Comolli came out yesterday and spoke. I think he spoke on Sky Sports, and he basically mentioned that the big clubs could go out and spend £100 million, even during this coronavirus pandemic, on players, on about 5 or 6 players actually. So even though we are being hit financially with this crisis, clubs are losing money. Comolli says that Premier League clubs, the top ones essentially, are able to still spend money on elite players. Now, what's happened with the coronavirus pandemic is that players' values have dropped immensely. Players' values have dropped by, millions of pounds. I think the lack of performances has contributed to that, and their values as assets has just been taking a major dip. Now what that does is that puts Premier League clubs at an advantage, because they wouldn't pay normal prices for players of elite quality. They wouldn't pay normal prices for certain players. Because those prices have dropped, it puts Premier League clubs at a major advantage to go out and attack the summer transfer market, because now it's like a knock-on effect where the values of players have dropped, but the Premier League clubs can still afford to pay for these players at a cheaper rate. So it's very wild. It's extremely wild. I think we've seen Bayern Munich, they bid £35 million for Leroy Sané yesterday. And the reality is that is £11 million less than what City bought him for. And he's still got like 1 year on his contract left. So that's just an example of how players' values have dropped. I think Damien Comolli is correct by saying that Premier League clubs could go out there and spend £100 million spread out amongst 5 or 6 players at this moment in time. A bit of a Tottenham situation. But that could happen. That could happen. That could really happen. I could see Chelsea going out there and scouring Europe's top talents and getting them at major bargains. You know, Dayot Upamecano, the boy from Red Bull Leipzig, one of the most in-demand centre-backs in Europe. That boy, for example, was going for £40 million. His value could immensely drop because of the coronavirus pandemic. So the status quo of the transfer market right now, it favours Premier League clubs. I know the clubs haven't basically earned serious amounts of revenue, and they are recording losses due to the lack of matchday revenue and other sources of income. But the truth is, they still have the financial power to go out there and get quality players at a much cheaper rate than they would have if life was normal again. So what does that mean? What does that mean? That means that clubs are going to be paying literally scraps for some of the quality players all around Europe. Players in France, for example, are in high demand right now. Players in the Bundesliga have come for, they are under seriously high demand. Players in La Liga, in the Premier League even. You know, I think we're used to seeing individual players going for £100 million, once every transfer window. That's gone. Only the truly elite of all football players are going to be going for those prices, i.e. the Kylian Mbappes, the Neymars, the Lionel Messis. You know, you get the point. But those football players will go for more than 100 million. I think right now, football clubs are at a major competitive advantage in the transfer market, because they can go out there and scour Europe's top talent and get them at bargain prices. Comolli's right. You know, Damien Comolli is the person, he was the man at Liverpool that signed Luis Suarez. He was the man responsible for signing Gareth Bale at Tottenham. So Damien Comolli has a point here. I think, if anything, he's the one person that you can believe when it comes to the status quo of the transfer market. He's the person that you can look to give you advice and to provide you with the insights that you were unavailable with. Before Comolli's interview with Sky Sports, I did understand the implications financially on the transfer market. I did understand the fact that players' transfer values are not going to be the same. I understood that. I don't think I understood the, how can I put it, the massive impact on players' values. I didn't think I understood that. I thought maybe a player's value would go down by about 5 or 6, maybe 10 million. It's dramatically decreased. Dramatically. We're gonna see players like Declan Rice, for example, who was worth 60 or 70 million in West Ham's eyes. We're going to be seeing players like Declan Rice possibly leaving for about 30 or 40 million pounds. So what do you guys think? Do you think that the top football or Premier League clubs are going to be taking advantage of this opportunity, or do you think they haven't got the funds to do so? What do you guys think? Hit me up at the Dugout Podcast and hit me up on Twitter and let's have a chat. I just think that Premier League clubs are going to take a massive advantage. They've been coming out saying that they haven't got the funds to do deals. I think Liverpool have been notorious for saying that don't expect any kind of major signings this summer. And I understand that. What we will see a lot of in the next summer transfer window, we will see a lot of loan deals being happening. Loan deals and swap deals are going to be a major thing this summer. I think a lot of clubs haven't got the financial backing to go out there and spend 20 million pounds on a player after this pandemic. And you will see a lot of people scouring around Europe, scouting a lot of young talent. Like I said, this is a competitive advantage for football clubs, but it's an advantage for young players too, because this is their chance to get a crack at playing at big clubs, to get a crack at playing at elite level leagues like the Premier League, like La Liga, like the Bundesliga, because football clubs aren't going to be willing to spend top money. They're going to be spending 3, 4, 5 million quid on young players or loaning them. That's what I see happening in the future. Or they could just do a swap deal. That's what's potentially going to happen in the next summer transfer window. What do you guys think? Tell me on Twitter, at Instagram, whatever you'd like. If you want to be a guest, please hit me up, and please subscribe to my channel and the Dugout Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you listen to podcasts. So this is your boy Ryan Leaf. I'll chat to you guys soon. Have the best week and stay safe, yeah?